just folded around the corner across there. I am completely flat. So you want to make sure that your lines line up exactly. Okay, so it's Monday morning. I'm back on the job. So Friday when I left, I forgot to put my clips in. So usually what I'll do is I'll put my clips into the fresh mortar, add a piece of scrap tile, and then just put a couple of wedges in to hold the clips in place so the thin set doesn't push them out. But sometimes you forget. Like I actually didn't even think about it on Friday. So what do you do when that happens? What do you do when you forget your clips and you come back and the thin set is hard? Well, that's actually not such a big problem as you might think. You just want to be careful that you don't ruin your waterproofing when you do it. So what I do is I have this, oscillating tool, and I put a grout blade on there, and then I'll just cut out the thin set, the hard thin set, being careful not to push up against the board or your membrane or whatever you have, and keep it flat up against the tile and away from your membrane. If you're going to be doing this on an electric floor heat where you got your wire in, you want to be very careful. I wouldn't advise it because if you cut that wire, you're going to be in a huge problem. Like on this floor here, I'm going to have electric floor heat, so I'm going to be very careful to make sure that I always get my clips in the day before when I finish for that day, so that I have them in for the next day. So another thing, let me put this down. Another thing you can do to make it a little bit easier so you don't have to go so deep is you cut your clips down. Well, not that one so much. You cut your clips down so you don't have to go as deep and they sit flat. If if it's a full size, it might not sit properly. Like, see that doesn't sit properly, but if you cut them down a little bit, then that will sit right, and that will work just as well as a regular clip with a full leg. Here's one with the full leg, and here's one that's cut down. So that's a regular clip, and that's one I cut down. So I've even cut them down shorter than that if I need to, but usually that's more than enough. So I will be putting this next row of tile in. My clip situation is all set, ready to go. So I get a lot of comments that say, well, why do you use so many clips? Well, the recommendation for the number of clips is one on each side of the corner. Now, a lot of people think that that's too much. If you're doing a third running bond, then you could probably get away with fewer clips. But if you're doing a half running bond, like I'm doing a half running bond, and if you look at the box and the tiles, most of the time, any tile that's a large format tile, that's a tile that has one side longer than 15 inches, they recommend to do no more than a third stagger. And this here, you can see it's a half stagger. So the recommendation for the leveling clips is one on each side of the corner. So one here, one here, one here, and one here. Right? So you got these two done for over here, and then you need one here and one here. And because these are really good quality tiles, so there's not a problem. You can see it's absolutely flat. There's no lippage anywhere. If you skip on the number of leveling clips you're going to use, you might not get exactly flat like I have here, because believe it or not, the tile will bend. I have a video. I'll link to that video in the cards if I remember. So anyway, I am going to continue on this bathroom. Okay, so another quick tip. Now, as you know, I protected my floor. There's a glass tile hexagon floor under this cardboard. And I protected it with the cardboard, and that'll protect it from all the thin set that drops from the wall, you know, it gets on the floor, anything, you know, dust, etc., etc. It'll protect it from that. But then I have my little platform here that has, you know, it has the rubber covers on the feet. But you always want to make sure that you're protecting your floor underneath. So right now, I'm just going to have a bucket of thin set on there. But later on, as I go up the wall, I'm going to have to stand on this. So I'm going to put a piece of 1/2-inch foam board under the leg. So when I stand on it, you get no pressure on the tile underneath. Even if I didn't have that foam board, it'd probably be okay. But why take a chance? Get some scraps, put them under there, protect your floor. Okay, so when you're using your leveling clips, depends on what they are, but I always use the wedge system, like this here. So you have to employ a strategy so you don't move your tiles when you're tightening your clips. We've got these clips here, right, and I have them all pointed down. And these ones I have pointed that way, and these ones I have pointed this way. So if you put your clip, so it's pointing up, because these tiles are already set. When I go to tighten that tile, because I'm pushing up on the wedge, oops, I'm upside down here, because I'm pushing up on the wedge, that wedge is pushing up this way, so I could possibly move my tile. But because these are already set, if I put my wedge this way, so if I tighten my wedges down, like I'm going to go this way, and this way, and this way. Now once I get that all cinched down, I'm going to go ahead and do this one and this one, because this is not going to move because it's already being locked in place. And it's not going to, this one's not going to move out because I'm going this way with my wedge. Same thing on this. Now on here I forgot, because this is a polished tile, I use protection plates. So let me get these protection plates on, and then we'll continue. I'll show you exactly what I mean. Okay, so here we go. So now that tile is locked in place. You can't move it. Now I'm going to do this one. And this one. That clip broke, I'll replace it. This one. And this one. So remove this, change this clip. So I'll tighten the rest of those. And now this one's locked in place. This one is actually locked in place. And this one's locked in place. Now I'm going to go do the rest of these. Okay, so when you're installing high gloss tile, you want to make sure that you don't scratch it with the tools that you're using. Now I'm using this leveling system. This leveling system here. And it's got the wedges. Now if these wedges were brand new, then like here's one that's in pretty good condition. If this wedges were brand new, then I wouldn't use these protection plates, because there's nothing on it to scratch it. It's plastic, so plastic is not going to scratch the porcelain. But because I've used them several times, it can be like some thin set on there, and there's, in the thin set there's sand. So the sand could possibly scratch the porcelain. So I use these protection plates, so when I put the wedge in, it slides on the plastic and not on the tile, and you don't scratch your tile. Now with porcelain, I would probably be okay, even with a high polish, just using these old wedges. But why take a chance? If this was a marble tile or a natural stone tile, which is soft compared to porcelain, very soft, then the sand on these wedges would definitely scratch that marble. So in that case, you would want to definitely use some kind of protection plate. These protection plates are the ones that are made for this system, but you can get generic ones. I'll put a link in the description for the generic ones, and you can use those for any type of wedge system. If you're using a rotating system or any other kind of system, make sure if you're using it on soft material, that you do protect the stone from getting scratched. If this were just a regular matte finish and wasn't high gloss, then I wouldn't bother with the protection plate. If it was a honed stone, natural stone, then I would use a protection plate anyway, regardless of whether it was polished or honed. Okay, so as you're going up your wall, you always want to have your levels handy so you can check to make sure you're staying plumb, you're staying flat, and you're staying level. So as I'm going along, as I'm putting the tiles up, I'm making adjustments to make sure that I'm staying flat. So if I put this level on here, it's all completely flat and it's level. If I put my even my 6-foot level, I put it across there, I am completely flat. If I put it on top, so right on the top here, right across, you can see that I am perfectly level. Okay, so details matter. What's going to separate a good installer from an okay installer is all the little details. So let me show you what I mean. So this top, the niche, the bottom, this row, that's all cemented in. The top row of the niche, where they go around the niche, is not cemented in. So what do I mean by details? So you want to make sure that your lines line up exactly. You don't want it to be off, not even by a 16th. You want them to line up exactly. And then in the corners here, see how this has got a vein in the corner? Now I've been trying to make this vein kind of connect, but this tile doesn't really lend itself to that. But in the corners, like this corner here, you want to make sure all your cuts and needs are neat, and you got nice lines, and you could just cut a tile, and then when you come to this wall, you're just gonna cut another tile for here, and then just keep going along. But if you want to go to the next level, number the pieces that you cut, right? See, that's 6 right, 6R, that's 5L and 4L, and this one here is 6L. So this means 6, the 6th row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this piece is what fell off there. So when you put this piece of tile up in this corner, it's gonna look like that tile just folded around the corner, because it's the piece that came off. So that's going to make a big difference. Instead of having, so you got this, you're going to have this with that grain following around, or you could have something like that. I think numbering the pieces and fold in those corners so that the grain folds around. Is going to make for a much nicer job. Okay, so again today a lot of cutting. Let me see, there's 2 full tiles. Well, actually I put these in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full tiles, and everything else is cut, and you have to make a precision cut every time because you want the lines to match up exactly. You don't want one sticking out further than the other. I also got the curb on, so tomorrow I'll put that last row in up there. That's all cut. So when it's all said and done, this whole wall has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 full tiles. Everything else was cut. So I also, Monday I forgot to put my clips in. Today I did not forget. So what you do is you put in a piece of scrap, and then you put your clips in, and then you put you put in a piece of scrap, and you put your clips in, and then you put in a couple of wedges on either side. That's so the clips stay in place, because as the thin set starts, as the thin set dries, it tends to push them away from the tile. So just some scrap, got all my wedges in, ready for tomorrow. Okay, so I forgot about this curb. So this curb, this way, the long ways it's level. Front to back towards the shower, it's tilted in this way. This way, I don't know if you can see that, it's level. Front to back, it's tilted so the water will run off the curb and into the shower and up back into the bathroom. So that's it for today. I'm gonna call it quits, and tomorrow we'll continue with the tile.